Maya moved into the Chicago complex 3 weeks after her mother's funeral. The building hummed with an aggressive kind of life that felt foreign to her grief. Folding chairs lined the concrete courtyard like spectators. Dominoes clattered against wooden tables, a rhythmic heartbeat of the city. Smoke from charcoal grills drifted past her second-floor window, carrying the scent of summer and charred meat. At night, the courtyard felt like a shared living room, warm and familiar. But the apartment directly across from hers was a static anomaly. It sat silent and cold, a void in the middle of the celebration, waiting for the clock to strike the witching hour. At 2 a.m., the lights flickered on. Laughter spilled out, rhythmic and thick, like honey. She watched from her dark kitchen as dozens of people filled the small space, dancing in clothes that looked like ghosts of the 1970s. Nobody walked through the door. The party simply materialized out of thin air. One Tuesday, she caught Mr. Henderson, a neighbor of 40 years, staring at the unit with hollow eyes. "Don't look there after midnight," he whispered, his hands trembling as he gripped his cane. He looked like a man who had seen the end of the world. Maya started keeping a log, her pen scratching against paper in the dead of night. The anomalies intensified. The family photos in the hallway shifted. Faces she didn't recognize yesterday now stared back from silver frames with knowing smiles. The music grew warped, a record skipping in a slow, guttural loop that vibrated in her teeth. The children inside the unit began to turn their heads in unison, tracking her movement behind the glass with unblinking eyes. She felt a cold pull in her chest, a magnetic weight dragging her toward the window. The boundary between the living and the static was thinning, and the air in her own kitchen began to smell of stagnant water and old, pressed flowers. One humid night, the music stopped abruptly, leaving a silence so heavy it hurt. The apartment door across the way creaked open just an inch. Her mother stood in the sliver of light, wearing the exact silk scarf she was buried in. She held a plate of food, the steam rising in the cold air, and gestured for Maya to cross the courtyard. Maya stepped onto her balcony, her heart hammering against her ribs. The air smelled of burnt sage and old perfume. Below, other tenants were emerging from their units like sleepwalkers. Their eyes were glazed, walking toward the apartment with arms outstretched in a silent prayer. She saw a neighbor who had died last winter sitting at the kitchen table inside, laughing at a forgotten joke. The walls of the unit were pulsing like a living heartbeat. The guests remained frozen, their skin stretching tight over bone as they smiled. Her mother's voice drifted across the gap, clear and inviting. "Come home, Maya. The plate is still warm." It wasn't a request. It was a summons from the grave. She watched her neighbor walk into the room, his body dissolving into the shadows of the crowd. The lights flared with a blinding, violent intensity, then plunged the building into total silence. Maya backed away, stumbling, and slammed her door shut, locking every bolt. But the silence was a lie. Through the floorboards, she could still hear it, the faint, rhythmic clinking of silverware against porcelain. The reunion was starting again, and she was the only one left to invite.